Good day to you from wherever and whenever you are connecting with us. I would like to welcome you to this special interview from Southwestern College in Santa Fe about their PhD program, Visionary Practices and Regenerative Leadership, fondly called VPRL for short. This unique transdisciplinary doctoral program is designed to prepare participants as regenerative leaders who can navigate the complexities of changing the old narrative of separation, domination, competition, and control into the emerging story of cooperation, compassion, connection, and capacity to regenerate broken social systems and struggling ecosystems. My name is Zara Indigo Ronlove. I am a PhD student and a graduate assistant at Southwestern College, and I'm honored to be your host today. I have the pleasure of connecting with PhD student Denise Moore, who is in cohort 3, and this is her first year. Welcome, Denise. Thank you
All
for
right.
taking this time with us.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yay. Well, so I have a few questions and just answer as you will. And, this is about your sharing. It may be a little bit of a dialogue, but that's not my intention at all. Um, so we'll just dive right in. Uh, what attracted you to the Visionary Practices and Regenerative Leadership Program?
Yeah, I'm actually a graduate of Southwestern College for the master's program. And so about a decade ago, I graduated with my master's in counseling. And to be quite honest, after my experience in undergraduate, I never thought I would pursue higher education just because of how disheartening traditional education was and how hard I found it and didn't really enjoy or felt like I'd learned much. So I never thought that I would return to higher ed. And then I discovered Southwestern and the transformative education, and kind of leaned into learning in a different way and learning in a new way. And so, as a master's student, I learned that I could learn how I learn and
Hmm.
not how, the dominant culture had told me that I should learn. Um, and you know have been working as a licensed counselor. I actually work for Southwestern College because I do believe in their mission. I'm the clinical director at our counseling center, and when I discovered there was going to be a doctorate program, it was exciting. Again, never thought I would pursue a doctorate, because one, traditional education just never seemed to call me in this way. And two, I didn't want to, have to study or find or contribute to research that was already done. I wanted to do something new and different. And, this program allows for that. It allows for me to show up as who I am in my creative space and apply what I'm learning to what I'm already doing. Um, and it has, the experiential component is also really important to me because I learn by doing. And this program is very much that. And so I feel very honored to be in cohort 3 and learning how to do this on a higher, different level as a doctoral student.
Fabulous. Well, so you mentioned about, what you're bringing to this in a way. You spoke around that. And so I want to invite you to share more about what is it that you're bringing to this program? What is it that you want to research and explore that maybe isn't happening out there in the mainstream of things? What's
Yeah, what's
your
exciting about
vision seed? We call it a vision seed here. So what is your vision seed?
Vision Seed. So one of the things that I appreciate about this program is this idea of like how do we contribute to broken systems, and working in mental health, at a community mental health care agency. We are in the midst of a broken system. Access to care is really hard. There's a shortage of providers. Burnout rates are really high, and so the system feels broken. Um, so one of the things that I bring with my vision seed is looking at this paradigm of mental health and then expanding it. So one of the things that um, interests me is how we take care of ourselves and how we cultivate peace. I feel that we're in such tumultuous times, and it feels that, peace is not something we talk about in our day-to-day conversations. We can talk about self-care, we can talk about mental health, We can talk about, even climate change is something we talk about maybe more frequently than we do even these conversations about peace and peacemaking and what that means. So my vision seed is a combination of looking at mental health systems and peacemaking and how do they intersect and how do they come together and where does it start and how do we maintain it and cultivate it, and who are the peacemakers? Are they mental health care practitioners? So that's where my curiosity is right now, just one quarter into the program.
So you brought this curiosity a quarter ago, right? September is when the term started, and we're just starting a new term at Southwestern, actually this week. Um, has anything transformed for you since in just this one term with what you've been doing?
Yeah, it's an interesting process when we're invited to participate in transformative learning, because what I've discovered for myself is that I'm a big part of that. Where in traditional education, it's kind of like the material is being taught to us, right? This external knowing, right? Um, and so this last quarter, what has transpired is that returning to myself, that returning to my knowing, and even to my own peacemaking within myself. And so it was this kind of external thing that I was envisioning. And as the quarter, you know, developed and ended, it really became this more internal process of looking about how I treat myself, how I'm in peace with myself, how I can't really do peace out here if I'm warring inside myself. And so that was a really big opening for me, and bigger curiosities to come from that discovery.
I love that. I love that. So it's only been a term, and here at Southwestern, we have the option of being either a full-time student or a part-time student. And I believe you're a part-time student, yeah? And so with that, you had one class, and the residency. We all gathered together back in September in Santa Fe and got to meet each other and make relations. So, in those experiences of the residency and of the class, and you could share which class you took if you like, is there anything that came out of it that was especially inspirational or life enhancing? That I'll speak for myself for a moment. The whole thing was right, but is there something that rises up right now that's like a gem of your experience?
Yeah, I think I took phenomenology of visionary practice, right? So it's one of the names of the program. So one, learning about what visionary practice is and um, how that tool, that research can be valid and informing of my vision seed and the dissertation coming, right? Um, was key, right? Learning what that means, and the processes we did of gaining that knowledge and information and this new way of knowing, um, felt very key. But I really think that the residency was the door opener for me. This, it was an invitation for myself to show up differently than I do as a parent, as a therapist, as a director. Um, and so it was this coming in to like my people. I felt like, we were gathering as these little, new beings that were coming together, and yeah, exactly, and sprouting up, these acorns becoming oak trees. um, and there's a lot of prep that happens before the residency. There's a lot of readings. There's, ways that we engage with each other online. But it wasn't until we were together that I understood the power of this community, and and the importance of co-generative leaders. Like, everybody's vision seed is different, but we all contribute to this whole of something that is needed right now. As we see systems begin to collapse, we're the ones like, we're gonna hold it together. um and it it's nice to know that I'm not alone. It's nice to know that there is a cohort, that there is folks that I can reach out to and connect with. Um, and so I think having that kind of, you know, community in this time where it feels like we're so isolated and separated was really pivotal for me in my learning and in my willingness to lean in and to be vulnerable and to show up the way that I do in class in a different way that I show up in other realms in my life. So that to me was the biggest turning point.
How beautiful to arrive into yourself in a new way
Mhm.
at the very beginning of something that you're embarking upon, right?
Yeah.
So I
Uh,
found it really, and I still find it just really cool and yeah, just really cool that as you know, when we came together in the residency, we didn't know each other, but it was like familiar. There was a familiarity somehow, right? And and then as we went through the process and began listening to each other's vision seeds, and then as we've gone through the course, um, what's fascinating to me is that how individual our vision seeds are, as you said, yet how as time is going on, how we're all informing each other, right? That we're creating almost like a fabric with our visions, each individual threads, but then together something's being created that is more than the sum of each of us alone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that's what it draws me to this program as well, is because it's not, it doesn't feel competitive like other maybe doctoral programs are. You know, seeds can have similar threads and we can work together on certain projects and we can learn from each other's research. There's a generosity that doesn't feel the same in other academic settings or other doctoral programs that I looked at. And I think that's very brave for a program to have that thread of generosity in that fabric of you know, creating leaders the way that it's doing.
That's beautiful. Well, let's see. Is there any stories or anything that opened your mind or opened a growth point? I know you just spoke about this kind of having this opportunity to be with yourself in a new way than you are out in the world, right? In all the other ways. But is there any little gem of a story you'd want to share with us? Or something that you noticed at Ghost Ranch where we were for our residency or anything?
You know, at Ghost Ranch, we had this opportunity to create these collages based on our vision seed. And I have this memory of us sitting in this giant room surrounded by magazines and glue and ripping papers. And oh, does anybody need a bear? I have my glue too. We call it my PhD glue. Um, and then just the sharing was so rich and full. And what I appreciated, and this was true in the phenomenology class too, again, this generosity, right? Where we were sharing our what we thought was coming through. We were bringing in these images, and then our peers were mirroring things that maybe we hadn't noticed before, and bringing in a new richness and again this like layering of learning that then like expanded ideas and expanded curiosity and creativity, and that was true in the class as well. But I think my favorite part of that experience is when we all joined our collages together at the end and created our kind of our vision seat as a cohort, and just the beauty of all of these different jagged, ripped, cut pieces coming together to this whole. And so again, it really like felt like that fabric you were talking about of us all coming together. And you know, I just feel like we're so lucky to be able to learn from one another, and we're so lucky to be able to be in this time sharing, you know, what we are learning with our professors, and it is a learning community. And I find that just so rich and exciting and rejuvenating, that it, you know, even on those days where I'm like, oh gosh, I have a lot of reading, it is what keeps the you know, the interest, right? It keeps the, you know, keeps it going, is that connective connectivity and creativity.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for that. Is there anything else that comes to mind that you want to share as we come to our completion with this time together?
I think the one thing that I've been saying about this doctoral program, I really think it's brave. It's a courageous program, because it's, as some of our instructors say, let's cause some trouble, right? It is breaking down these systems of oppression in our educational system. And it's opening folks up to a new way of learning, and then we may become teachers of this learning as well. um, so I just really think that the instructors, the directors, the students are just brave, for embarking on this journey at this time. um, and I just am, again, so grateful to be part of it and to be part of the cohort that I'm in.
And that means you're brave too,
Yeah, I guess it does.
for being brave with me.
Yes.
Yay. Well, Denise, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today in your busy life and the beginning of a term and all that is, and for sharing these experiences about Southwestern. My hope is that any one of you out there who is listening to this, that you've been enriched by this time that Denise and I have had together. And I have so much appreciation for your time and attention, to you, Denise, to all of you out there. If what you've heard inspires you, we welcome you to check out more about this PhD program at, I'm going to give you a long line of URL thing here, so bear with me. It's going to be www.swc.edu/visionary-regenerative-leadership-PhD. SWC Visionary Practices and Regenerative Leadership PhD. We're going to put that in a way down there so you can click on it, and it will be much easier than trying to follow my words. So stay tuned for future conversations with other students and faculty from Southwestern in the coming months. Until then, I wish you all well. Bye for now.